Last September 28, I was invited to the Philippine premiere of Dreamworks' new animated movie, The Wild Robot, so here's my review of The Wild Robot. When I first saw the trailer for this, I was super excited because this genuinely looked like it was gonna be really good. And when the early reviews came in and they were all positive, I was even more excited. So having seen this movie now, did it live up to the hype? In my opinion, it did, and it more than exceeded my expectations. If you're a parent, I think this movie will make you feel all the emotions, especially if you're a mom. Because at its core, this movie is a mother and son story. The Wild Robot follows Roz, a robot who crash lands in an island and becomes an unlikely mother to a Gosling that imprints on her. First off, this movie feels like a combination of a lot of things. In my opinion, it's got an Iron Giant vibe, Avatar, Big Hero 6, Wall-E, and a little bit of Tarzan mushed together. But despite feeling like a combination of all those things that came before, The Wild Robot was able to craft something beautiful and be its own thing. What I liked about this movie is that there were so many life lessons in it that not only applied to kids, but to adults as well. I say lessons as in plural because there's more than one lesson you can pick up from this movie. But in its core, the movie is about kindness being your greatest tool for survival. You see, this movie is mostly set in this forest location where everything is out to or could hurt you. And Roz is a robot designed to take care of others. So this movie puts her caring nature to the test in this very harsh environment. And I really like that because as kids we were taught to be kind, but me personally, I feel like I've become a little more cynical as I grew older. And at times it could feel like being a kind person doesn't get you anywhere. But this movie softens up your heart and makes you believe that maybe we can survive this harsh world by being kind. And that's just one of the lessons this movie has. And I think this movie does a great job of bringing you these lessons without ever feeling preachy. This movie is also a tearjerker, so ready the tissues. At the premiere of this movie here in the Philippines, they gave us a box of tissues before entering the cinema. Trust me when I say this, you'll definitely need them. I mentioned earlier that this movie at its core is about a mother and her son, and that's really where all the emotional stuff comes from in this movie, because it takes you through the joy and also pain of being a parent. I myself am not a parent, but this movie does a good job of putting you in Roz's shoes and making you feel the things she feels. But it's not all touchy-feely because this movie is also very funny in ways that I did not expect. There's a good amount of dark humor in this movie, which I thought was great. You see, Roz starts out not having any social cues because she's a robot. So stuff that you'd normally shield your kids from, like the topic of death, she unintentionally brings up and talks about in front of kids, which is really funny. The animation is also great. I think this is one of the most visually stunning films of the year. The look of the movie kind of reminds me of the movie The Bad Guys and the latest Puss in Boots movie. I feel like that's the new style Dreamworks is going for, and I think it totally works for this movie. Now, I can't talk about this movie without talking about the voice cast because it is pretty stacked. You got Pedro Pascal, Catherine O'Hara, Mark Hamill, but I think without a doubt the standout of this movie is the wild robot herself, Lupita Nyongo as Roz. Lupita Nyongo was really great as Roz. She brings a warmth to the character and her warmth shines through in her voice. She's like Baymax as a mom or a robot version of Kala from Tarzan. She's sweet and I found myself wanting to give Roz a hug, cause not since Baymax have we gotten a really adorable giant robot that you wish was real. Overall, I'd say if you're gonna go watch anything this week, go catch The Wild Robot. It's beautifully animated, has an amazing story with great performances from some really good actors. Plus, it gives you a good excuse to cry at the cinema. So do yourself a favor and go see this movie. And don't forget your tissues.